I suck. Good morning, guys. Today I'm going to take you through my mobility routine that I do when I'm preparing to squat, bench, or deadlift, or training at all. I think everyone should be doing some sort of mobility routine before they start so they're nice and warmed up and they prevent themselves from injury. The main injury that I keep coming across is SI joint inflammation or pain or nerve pain or whatever you want to call it, which is the joint that attaches your lower spine to your hips, and it takes pretty much the brunt of the force when you're doing squats and deadlifts, and it is a painful son of a... Anyways, at the end of this mobility routine, I'll show you the SI joint specific things that I've been doing to relieve the pain as fast as possible. So let's get started. The mobility routine that I follow is a somewhat different version of the Limber 11 by Joe DeFranco, which I will link below. I've kind of switched it up to something that flows a bit easier for me, that I enjoy, so that's what I'm gonna show you now. We're gonna start with foam rolling. Okay family, foam rolling. What you're trying to do is massage the muscle and work through any tight spots by pressing your weight into the roller. I work around my legs. I'll start down the sides and go around to my quads, go around to my hamstrings. Sometimes I'll work into my calves. All of it's a bit awkward at first, but there's no wrong position as long as you're pressing your weight into the muscle. I find when I take a period of time off of doing this, sections of my legs and my hips will start to tighten up. These tight spots will pull in all the wrong places and end up causing pain in my knees and hips. I'll also turn the foam roller on an angle so I can get my inner thigh. With all of these positions, I do 5 to 10 repetitions, just sweeping back and forth. And finally, I'll go through my glutes. Sometimes I'll just use the foam roller, but if I need to get deep into the muscle, I'll use a trigger ball. This doesn't quite work if you have a vicious wolf puppy trying to steal it from you. This is just a $2 ball that I found at Big W. It has to be strong enough to support your weight and not give. It's just a bouncy ball. You don't have to pay for some like $30 trigger ball or anything. Next is T-rotations. I try to keep my hips and knees at a 90 degrees, why can't I say this? At a 90-degree angle. I do a couple rotations and then move to rotating one leg over the other. This one does a great job at releasing spots through my back and is an absolute must for when I prepare to bench. I can feel my back go pop, 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 pop every time I do this. Then I go into these lunge hip stretches. I rotate back and forth and try to get things moving, but I try not to stay too static. Before a workout, you want everything moving, but you don't want to completely stretch out the muscle because it can actually inactivate the muscle for your training. Post-workout is when you want to sit still and really stretch everything out. I'll then open up my hips with this quick quad stretch. Why would I make a sentence like that? I will then open up my hips with this quick quad stretch. Okay, moving on from my craziness. Next is the frog stretch. I will rotate side to side with one leg straight out, but I highly recommend if you're just starting out just to do the frog stretch by itself and rock back and forth, and when you're ready, bring your leg out and see how you feel. You want to keep your toes pointed out at the back. That way you get the actual opening of the hips. It'll be too easy if you keep your feet pointed down and just rock back and forth. Then we've got this side to side lunge. Try to keep your extended toe pointed up for the hamstring stretch. And if it's too hard, you can use your hands to balance and also bring your planted heel off the ground. And if that's too much, just go ahead, sit down, rotate side to side in a normal hamstring stretch. Okay, glute stretch. You want to stick your foot in front of you and try to keep a 90-degree angle of some sort between your knee and your foot. But like I do here, you can tuck your foot back to make it a bit easier. Sit back into it, try to stretch out inside your butt, and you can lean forward to get a deeper stretch. But again, you only want to do a quick stretch before your workout, and you can do longer at the end. Then I will finish off with side planks, because if your abs aren't switched on during squats, you can say bye-bye to your back. It ain't happening. You want to try to be pinching your hips to your ribs while you're in this position to get everything switched on. Okay, now on to SI joint specific movements. This is a reverse hyperextension with a band. It is a booty builder. Most gyms will have the actual machine, but if they don't, I'll find a box and some sort of bar to hold on to. Easy peasy. This helps activate my glutes and seems to help prevent my SI joint from spazzing out on me during squats. If my back does spaz out, I will immediately put the weights down, go for a 30-minute walk, and get into this position to try to stretch everything out. What happens when you do something to your back is all the surrounding muscles will seize up to try to protect from it getting injured worse, or even if it's not injured in the first place, it sensed a danger, so everything's going to seize in response. When the muscle seize, it hurts like hell, so you need to open everything up and get everything to let go so that you can walk the next day. Single leg pistol squats are good just to make sure your glutes are firing. I don't go through them very often unless I'm feeling a weakness on one side. I'll do these to make sure both sides are activated equally. Then we've got banded crab walks. Now these I find everyone responds to differently. Personally, I need to do 15 to 20 reps before I start feeling it in my glutes. Initially, my quads will do all the work and I have to keep going to get my glutes to fire. If I'm getting bored of the crab walks, I'll also work through these sort of star squats. I squat down and point with my other toe, forward, side, back, and repeat. The majority of the burn is actually in the static leg, the one that's stabilizing your body. Again, the longer I do this, the more my glutes will switch on and my quads will leave me alone. Another glute activator is hip abductions. Some gyms will have the machine that you sit on and you push your legs apart. If you do use this machine, make sure you sit on the very edge of the seat to get your glutes to fire, otherwise it's all in your hips. You can also use the band like I do here and just do one side at a time. Play around with where you position the band. Some of my clients feel this more with the band below their knees rather than above. You want to squeeze your glute to rotate your knee up. My last option here is these frog pumps. You want to keep your feet together, squeezing your glutes up and pressing against the band. Again, this is just for some more glute activation to make sure everything's switched on and ready to go for squats or deadlifts. I'm going to go to the gym. I'll try to record some stuff in there so you can see my squats and my deadlifts. Wow, I'm sweaty. I had to record that twice because stupid me recorded it one time without pressing record. Huzzah! Alrighty guys, I put together a couple clips from my last day of training before I headed off to Japan. I ended up doing bench and deadlifts and of course heaps of mobility and stretching before I got on the plane. My back hates sitting for long periods of time, so actually before each flight, I went through my mobility routine in the airport and just let people look at me weird because that was the only way that I got through those flights without my back seizing up. I'm back in Sydney now, and I'll go through my clips from Japan and see if I have enough to make a good video from. But otherwise, I'll conclude this here, and if you're interested in watching me lift heavy stuff, please keep watching.
There's no way that you make it, and maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.